Okay, so this was not just another week in AI. No way. This was one of those weeks where you can literally feel the ground shifting right under your feet. We saw huge moves in everything from the basic plumbing of AI, the infrastructure, all the way to how you and I use it every day, plus major breakthroughs in research, policy, and even how AI drives a car. Let's break down what this massive shift really looks like.
$100 billion. Just let that number sink in for a second. We're not talking about the value of the entire AI industry here. Nope. This is the price tag for a single project, a single partnership that's being built to power, well, the entire future economy. And believe it or not, that's just the first of 5 major stories we need to talk about.
So what exactly went down this week? We've got 5 huge stories to unpack. We're going to start with that mind-blowing $100 billion deal, then we'll see how AI is literally showing up in billions of web browsers. After that, we'll dive into a first-of-its-kind moment for science and AI, a really important data policy change you want to hear about, and a self-driving breakthrough that might just change the game. All right, let's dive in.
All right, first up, let's get to the story behind that jaw-dropping number. OpenAI and NVIDIA just announced what could very well be the biggest AI infrastructure deal in history. We're talking about building a computing platform on a scale that's just unprecedented, and it's all pointing toward one massive goal: creating superintelligence.
So just how much power are we talking about here? The plan is to fire up 10 gigawatts of computing power. Now, to put that in perspective for you, that's enough juice to run a whole small city. But instead of lighting up homes and streetlights, every single watt is going to power millions of GPUs, all working together to train the next generation of AI. And get this, the timeline is wild. The first gigawatt, running on NVIDIA's brand new Vera Rubin platform, is supposed to be up and running in the second half of 2026. That's really soon. This isn't some far-off fantasy. It's right around the corner. And they need this power not just to keep up with the 700 million people using ChatGPT every week, but to build whatever comes next. You know, Sam Altman's quote here really nails it. He said, "Compute infrastructure will be the basis for the economy of the future." This is so much bigger than just making a better chatbot. Think about it like this. We're moving from a world of small, almost custom-built AI projects to full-on industrial-scale AI manufacturing. They are literally building the factories that will produce the intelligence of tomorrow. So while OpenAI is out there building these massive AI factories for the future, Google is busy putting AI right into our hands, right now. They're embedding it directly into the one tool that billions of us use every single day, the web browser. Yep, as of this week, Gemini AI has officially rolled out to all Chrome users in the US. And they've made it incredibly easy to use. There's just this new little Gemini button sitting in the corner of your browser. You click it, you ask a question about whatever web page you're looking at, and boom, you get an AI-generated answer instantly. It's totally seamless, and it's clearly designed for everyone to start using it.
So what can you actually do with this? Well, you can get a summary of a super long, complicated article in just a few seconds. Or, let's say you're shopping, you can ask it to compare products you have opened in different tabs. Even better, you can finally find that one site you looked at weeks ago just by asking a normal question like, "Hey, what was that recipe site I found for lasagna?" It basically turns your browser from just a window into a smart assistant. But Google is already thinking way beyond that. The next step, they say, is something they call agentic capabilities. Now, what does that mean? It means your browser won't just find stuff for you, it'll do stuff for you. So imagine telling Chrome not just to find a good Italian restaurant, but to actually go ahead and book a table for 2 at 7 p.m. That's the future they're shooting for.
Okay, our third story is a huge deal, but for a totally different reason. It's not about the sheer scale of it, it's about transparency. A startup called DeepSeek just did something that is almost unheard of in the super secretive world of AI. They got their research on a major new model published in Nature, one of the most respected scientific journals on the planet. And the way they did it is really cool. See, normally, you train an AI by basically spoon-feeding it examples of human thinking. But DeepSeek tried something different called pure reinforcement learning. All they did was give the model a bunch of questions and the right answers. That's it. They forced the AI to figure out how to get from the question to the answer all on its own. And the craziest part? The AI actually learned how to correct its own mistakes along the way.
But here's the part that made my jaw drop. The entire training process costs less than $300,000. I mean, in an industry where a single training run can cost hundreds of millions, that is just
It's staggering. This completely changes the game. It proves that you don't have to be a tech giant to build cutting-edge AI. This could really open the doors for so many more people and companies.
Honestly, you can't overstate how important this is. By publishing in Nature, DeepSeek had to let other top scientists pick apart their work, verify it, and challenge it. They've just set a brand new standard for being open in a field that's usually locked down tight. It's a massive step towards making AI development feel more like a real, accountable science.
All right, let's shift gears to a story that directly impacts millions of us. Anthropic, the company that makes the AI assistant Claude, just announced a pretty big change to their data privacy policy. And this gets right to the heart of a huge question. What happens to our private conversations when we talk to these AI models?
So here's the deal. Circle this date on your calendar, September 28, 2025, because after that day, the default setting for your data gets flipped. Right now, you have to choose to opt in to let them use your data, but after that date, you'll be opted in automatically. So unless you go in and actively opt out, your chats with Claude will be used to train their future AI.
And you might be wondering, does this apply to me? Well, it affects almost everyone. If you're using a free, pro, max, or even the code plan, yep, your data is now part of the training pool by default. The only people who are exempt are the big enterprise and API customers. So for the rest of us, millions of us, it means we have a choice to make about our own data. And for our final story, we're leaving the world of code and data centers and hitting the actual road. Tesla's full self-driving system just passed a huge test. It launched in Australia, a completely new and challenging environment, and what it did there is a really tangible, real-world win for AI. The results from these real-world tests are pretty incredible. The system drove for over 700 kilometers on Australian roads, and that included several long-haul trips where the driver didn't have to intervene, not even once. This wasn't some controlled test track or a computer simulation. This was AI driving all by itself out in the wild. And we're not talking about a simple Sunday drive here. The AI had to handle all sorts of tricky situations. It navigated complex roundabouts, crazy roadwork, and even uniquely Australian things like hook turns. And it did all this while dealing with rain, driving at dawn and dusk, you name it. This shows it has a really sophisticated grasp of how to handle the messy, unpredictable real world.
Now, what makes this so important is that it's a huge validation for Tesla's vision-only strategy, which has been pretty controversial. Instead of using expensive LiDAR and radar like a lot of their competitors, they're betting that they can do it all with just cameras and really smart AI. And this success in Australia suggests they might be right, which could make this kind of technology way cheaper and easier to roll out everywhere.
So let's just zoom out for a second and look at the whole picture. In just 1 week, we saw these 5 huge leaps forward. A massive jump in the basic infrastructure of AI, a huge step in integrating it into our daily lives, a breakthrough for transparent research, a critical turning point for data policy, and a major milestone for real-world application. Every single one of these points to the same thing. AI is industrializing, and it's happening fast.
Yeah, all 5 of these stories are really telling one big story. AI is scaling up at a pace that is just breathtaking. It's being woven into the very fabric of our digital lives, and now our physical world, faster than anyone really expected. So the big question this week really leaves us with is a simple one. As AI gets bigger, faster, and smarter, are we ready?